Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to season 2, episode 9 of the podcast. How you guys doing? What's going on? Look at these party people in the house. A couple of first-time chatters. Doublelicious. I see you. I see you in there. What's going on? Thank you for the clap, whoever did that. Scenario 7 Sim Racing, Robert the 17th. What's going on, everybody? All the Chimaira _ Mark homies are in the house. 4 Derpy Paws, Belfagor, Marissa, Kamakozy. Good afternoon. It's night here, but good afternoon for you guys. How's everybody doing? I'm very excited about today's show. Supra from Hell in the house. We have Mr. Mark Hunter on the show. He's you guys know Charmin. What's the best way to say it? Chimera? The Chimera. They have the CH Chimera. Lebanon has the K Chimera. It's a whole thing. But yeah, we're gonna have a good conversation, a little party. If you have any questions, make sure that you hit the little redeem thing. I don't know where I'm pointing. And ask a question that lists them up in the little box. And Iman is also present. What's going on? Shalom. Gonna get us in trouble, shit. Iman. Is it just me or is the audio not synced? It's probably just you, Belfagor. I don't know. God damn it. Derpy, thank you for the 500 biddies right off the bat. I don't know why the alerts are a little late, but hey, we'll figure it out. Anyway, it ain't synced. We'll figure it out. Thank you for those 500 biddies for Derpy Paws. Let's hit the intro. Mark, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Brilliant.
Oh, man, good to see you in person. I hope the signal's okay. I'm up here on the moon. But everything down there, I hope it's going well. I was up in Bezos's rocket yesterday, and he actually left me. So here I am.
I mean, yeah, it was a difficult connection to make. Trying to get you out in the moon. But you can hear us fine. Everything's fine over there.
Everything's good. It's just like when Richard Nixon called the astronauts from a landline. Look that one up. That's what supposedly happened. The moon.
I mean, it would be just as far for me to think that I'm calling from Dubai anyway, because it's such we don't get a lot of connections here, especially out in the States. We don't. So the moon is just as far from me mentally.
It does seem like that. And the flight over there was not a quick one, that's for sure.
Yeah. But dude, we always start the show with me saying I botched an introduction before the intro. But in your own words, if you can, Rexter, thank you for those 100 biddies, my friend. In your own words, if you can, introduce yourself to the unmuted tribe for the very first time.
Unmuted tribe, what's going on? I am the... No, I'm just kidding. I would hate to be that chipper. I am the one and only Mr. Mark Hunter from Chimaira, Chimera, Charmin. And I used to sing. I still sing. And, yeah, when I'm not doing that, I'm taking photos. And when I'm not doing that, I'm shooting zombies in the pecker. Are we allowed to swear at this show?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can... Pecker's the least of our worries on this show. We can go all out. But yeah, man, I wanted to first, usually when we do the episodes, I start by saying like how I got to know the guest or my first interaction with them. But you and I know the band obviously for a very long time, but we actually met in 2009 because you guys played Desert Rock and I was working backstage trying to take care of drunk musicians. And and that was my job, and we met. We hung out for a bit. I was in the there was like a porta cabin thing. You guys were to the left, we were to the right, and yeah, it was a party. Oh, dude, Gifted Tier 1 sub. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm an absolute badass.
Jeez, God, lady can't sit through ads, you know. Well, let me tell you, I loved going to Dubai. and it was a pleasure, to say the least. Obviously we'll get into that more, but just being able to go over, break down barriers, if you will, especially at the time when the media like to almost put it out to be that it was some horrible place to go to the Middle East and all that. It was good opportunity for us. So I'm very grateful to be able to go there.
One of the craziest things is, Derpy, thank you for another 200 biddies. One of the craziest things is that I found out about you being on Twitch through listening to Rob Flynn's podcast. You were on there and you were talking about how you had been on Twitch for like 3 months at that point, and you're just having fun. I was like, what do you do on Twitch? Is everyone just gaming on there? And I checked it out. I made a Twitch account. I jumped on. I had this podcast on Facebook at first. We didn't do anything on Twitch, and then I hung out in your chat, and I was like, God, you can do that? You can just hang out with people? I didn't know that was a thing. And but it always reminded me of that podcast, because Rob Flynn was and Machine Head were one of the first bands to come out. It was Machine Head, Sepultura, and Testament to come out to Dubai, and Rob Flynn legit thought he was being kidnapped. And the whole time he was being picked up from the airport and shit.
Right.
But you guys didn't go through that experience, did you?
No, I mean, so I won't name names, but there was a member of our group that was a little scared to come over, because he definitely read a little too much and followed the news a little too intently. But I think he was more or less scared because he couldn't fly with anti-anxiety medications. So that guy's name was Andals. Anyway, yeah. So when we landed, it was everybody was dressed how everyone dresses out there, but to us, it looked like he's just like seeing a bunch of Arabs coming at him, and everyone's screaming, but they're obviously they're looking to they're excited that people are coming off the plane, and he's looking at it as something out of a movie, like The Naked Gun or something, and the terrorists are
Listen, I get it. We scream when we're happy. Like, this is just it's an intimidating culture.
It was just funny, And then, but one of the first things, man, right when we got to the hotel, everyone's hungry, of course, and I get a menu, and the very first thing on it said New Orleans chicken wings or something. Guys, you guys are afraid of nothing. This is ridiculous, And then, of course, once we got to meet the fans, once we got to experience the culture, and actually travel, and that's one thing we don't ever get to usually do in a place that we tour, is get to experience, the land. Say, if we go to Berlin, we might be there, get there at 10 a.m., play the show by 7 p.m. or something. We're out by 11. And we don't really get to see it. But with Dubai, we got to spend quite a bit of time there and really learn about the culture, learn about a lot of the myths, and get a lot of them, debunked. But also learn some of the truths, it was maybe not in that area, but some areas that are rough. And, we got to talk to some of the fans that went through, some situations that probably weren't the best for them. And so all in all, we got to take it in and absorb it. It was definitely one of my most favorite places to ever get to travel to. And I'm not saying that, hey man, y'all are my favorite city. I say that every time. But for sure it was. And just the fans gave us a reception that we not only were we not expecting, but it just blew us away. We were happy enough to for some people to get into the show, not let alone they knew our band and they were screaming the lyrics. And
oh, dude, I was one of the people. I bought the ticket and flew and wanted to fly down before I got the job backstage. I was there because Dubai is the only place that's allowed to do this in most of the Middle East, and people from Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, everyone flocks here, or flocked back in the day for Desert Rock Festival. And thank you for doing a little dance, Pims. Speaking of inappropriate
Yeah.
cultural appropriation, I found this guy. I do some video production before all of this started, and we were on a stock footage website, and they wanted an Arab man just kind of like admiring and clapping. And this was the only Arab man dancing that I found, and I was like, I gotta have him. The colors are off, like he's wearing a headband. It's not even right, but it was just so perfect that we had to have him on the show.
We got a chance to wear those outfits in the when they took us on the safari, and by the end of the night, we're in the desert doing like having the shisha and eating on the ground and all that fun stuff, and then. Next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, y'all want to put on these outfits?" Dude, Jim in that outfit is the best thing you've ever seen. He looks so authentic. We were crying. I have the picture, but I'll throw it in the Discord for you for another time. But it's pretty epic.
But speaking of those times, I have a horrifying photo. And listen, chat, if you guys talk about how I grew horizontally, I'll find you. I will find you. But this is us at Desert Rock Festival.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And there's another one. That's Bragner on the right of the screen. You guys, that Bragner who's always in the chat. And that was the porta cabin thing that we stayed in. But yeah, I found out how to order pizza since then. That's what happened.
I remember those photos. I feel like they were posted online.
I think so. Yeah, I think I had them on Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen those before.
Oh,
And you guys, I remember that for sure. I don't remember much. I don't remember what I did yesterday.
Smoke weed every day.
which we can't do here. Zero
Really?
tolerance.
Yeah, I know, man.
It's pretty bad.
Paranoid. Terrified to go there just because of that. They're like, they're gonna find a crumb on my shoe.
Yeah, they do that. They I forgot who I was talking to about it. He just happened to have dreadlocks, and he had a carton of cigarettes. So they opened the carton, opened each pack of cigarettes, and took every single cigarette out from a closed, sealed, duty-free carton of cigarettes that he bought, and just checked each and every single one of those. And when he asked why, they said, "Legit, you look like you smoke pot." Like that's the only reason. Let me just take a second to say thank you guys for that fucking hype train. What an amazing bunch of badasses. We do this. The only train that metalheads need is this one. Thank you guys. You look like a stoner. That's exactly what they said. Yeah, we play a little Aussie every time a hype train happens. But
I think I steal this idea, but do come on, ride that train, whatever that one is, you know.
Yeah, you gotta have a little hype train song. It's the best. And but speaking of Dubai Desert Rock Festival and hype trains, at that show, I asked you about you guys going live because you had a live stream from the studio from I think it was like 2007, 2008. And at that show, I asked you why you guys stopped it, and you said because there was someone jerking off on the stream, not one of you guys, but because every time someone tuned into the stream, their camera was on, and there was a dude there, just doing this thing.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was Yahoo, okay, and it was one of the very first streaming / I don't even know what you would call it, chat interactive things. But instead of like they could see us, but also we could see them somehow.
Yeah.
And, man, I wish I remember what the name of it was, but it was like we killed that real quick because it was like, oh no, of course someone's got to pull their dick out. Of course.
Of course they did.
Yeah. What was that thing that it was almost like Russian roulette? There was that service,
Chat roulette. That's what it was. It was chat roulette.
and it felt like if you mix that with Twitch, it was kind of like that back in the day in like 2007. So it'd be like, oh cool, we connected with Unmuted show, and then like how instead of me seeing you on the Discord behind your computer and like all this nice graphics with the guitars, you just standing there with your meat in your hand, giving it the old tug.
Yeah. I always, as soon as I found out that you were on Twitch and figured out how all of this happens, I immediately thought of that. I was like, there's something must have, clicked from back in the day where you're like, I think live streaming is a thing. And then years later, you're like, wow, what a nice dog on Twitch with everyone.
Wow, that's a good dog.
That's a good dog. That's the one. I fucked it up just by a bit.
I fuck it up every day. I don't know, man. It's very bizarre for me to be streaming. So here's why. Because A, I'm an introvert. B, I'm not really the type of dude that likes to talk about personal stuff all the time. But I do have an extroverted side to me, and it seems to be like if I'm on my own turf, I'm better at it. So, for example, if you're like, hey man, come over, I'm having a party. I'm going to think of every single excuse to get out of that situation. And then if I do get there, I'm going to probably be really awkward because I'm having social anxiety. I'll probably start talking about Terrence McKenna and doing mushrooms and how that evolved human consciousness. And we were once apes and we took mushrooms, and now next thing you know, we had fucking geometrical shapes in the Bible. And everyone would look at me like, dude, who invited this guy? But if you come over to my house, I'm a little like, more relaxed, and I'll still tell you the same story.
but you'll be more relaxed about it. And
I'll be more relaxed. That's the key. And that's how I feel about streaming and Twitch. And I didn't think I would feel that way. My first few streams, I was a wreck. Like I was uncomfortable, and I didn't think I would scream or perform or anything like that. But as I do it, it just feels natural, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy the community that it builds. And I've learned a lot. I've changed quite a bit of my life from it. So it's interesting. What turned it into a hobby is still quite a bit of hobby, but it's more than that now. It's evolved quite a bit more. Yeah, I'm excited to be able to do it. It's crazy that you're doing it after me. Like, you seem more evolved, so I'm actually jealous, and pissed off at you now.
So I actually, like I said, I might owe you a royalty sandwich because when I first jumped into your chat, because I did a podcast on Facebook, but it was only a podcast, and then when we moved over to Twitch, I was like, what else can I do on those days off? And I saw the A to Z or Z. Is it Z or Z? It's Z.
Well, if you're from anywhere but America, it's Z. If you want to talk like American, man, you got to say Z.
It's the A to Z. We got the you had the A to Z, and I was like, all right, that's maybe something I can onboard. And I did the A to Z Middle East version. We only played Middle Eastern bands and unsigned because I had no idea what to do if we got the copyright strike. But that was my first things on Twitch. We did a little bit of podcast, and then I did the A to Z thing. And then I remember I saw you doing the performance once, and I asked you, like, how are you doing it sitting down? I've never screamed sitting down. And then you're like, actually, it's more control, and I feel a little more comfortable now doing that. And then I gave it a shot. I sucked the first 2 streams, and then I was like, I kind of like screaming sitting down now.
There's something weird about it, right? And that, well, first off, thank you. That's really cool that you were able to, draw inspiration from what's going on over here. And same thing with music, man. Like, if somebody likes our music and they're like, man, I play guitar because of you, or I stream because of you now in the future, that's really cool, man. So, well, they're not playing guitar because of me. Well, yes, they are. They heard my cameo birthday solo, and they were like, I need to pick up an axe. Anyway, but thank you. Second, the screaming sitting down, like, if you think about it, like, think about all the singers that have been doing this on the piano for ages, right? Like, like Elton John or something, and he's got to belt out those big heavy notes, and he's sitting down the whole time. So I kind of like started, I guess thinking of it in that retrospect too, like, oh shit. But I agree. Like at first, like people used to say they'd sing in the car, like Sean Z from our band in DOF. He's like, oh, I was practicing in the car, and I'm like, how? Like I would try to scream in the car, and I'd get lightheaded, and I'd be worried that I was gonna crash, and like, man, I feel like I need to stand up and all that. So totally, again, Twitch, something that changed my routine of everything. So maybe if we ever play a live show again, like I'll do like a King Diamond thing and come out in a wheelchair or something. So I can sit down
on a horse. That's the yeah. If you're sitting down, might as well sit down with style, right? Yeah. That's the only way to.
We could joust with someone and that, yeah.
But let's go back to the first time you downloaded OBS or thought like maybe I'm just gonna live stream. Was there a pre-Twitch stream kind of interest? Did you watch Twitch gamers? What was it like for you before this community built?
Yeah, sure. Actually about now it's not a year. It's got to have been 2 years by this point. But there's another streamer, Johnny Rocker, Rawker, and he's somebody I was talking like a fan that I met in real life and then became friends with, talked to on Twitter. Long story short, we were hanging out in person, and he had mentioned that I should get into Twitch, and I just had never heard of it, so I didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, oh, it's gamers, and he's chatting in my ear about games, and I'm like, man, I haven't picked up a fucking game since 2002. Like, that's not for me. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So a year goes by, and then we, COVID hits, and next thing you know, I'm seeing my Twitter feed, and I'm seeing a lot of musicians like going live, streaming on Twitch, doing this on Twitch, and I'm like, huh? Like, I remember that. I kind of remember it, and like, what is everybody doing on there? And then they start like, it was Paulo from Trivium, Phil from All That Remains. They start posting like clips of it, and I'm like, oh wait, they're performing. And then they're doing fun interactive stuff. So I don't know, it's just one of those FOMO things, for a lack of a better word. You start seeing those dudes do it, and you're like, man, that looks like fun. It was basically that. It looked like fun. And I was looking for something to do with, I was tweeting about records I was listening to in the morning, and I just felt like I was talking to in an echo chamber. So I was wondering if I could maybe combine this streaming lifestyle with listening to albums and whatnot. So, yeah, I called Phil from All That Remains, actually, and he basically gave me the 411 on it all. He was just like, hey, man, you could sit there, and he's like, one of the biggest channels is a dude that sits in a tractor and in farms. And I'm like, what? So then like I just start going through all these pages on Twitch, and I'm like, oh, this is literally anything. So my preconceived notion was a lot of just gaming. That's all it is, right? And then it was like, no, you got to be a musician and play your catalog. And I'm like, no, dude, I can literally fucking come out dressed like George Washington on here and eat McDonald's if that's what I want to do.
That's one of the things. One of the things that I learned quickly at first. I was like, I'm only gonna do Svengali songs. I'm gonna focus on the things I'm good at and not cover and stuff. A couple of months in, I'm like doing Barbie Girl screaming version, just doing the floss because someone spun the wheel of death. All these random things that we start happening, which I also draw a lot of inspiration from you. There's a ton of inside jokes. If you tune into that show for the first time, if you tune into Mark's channel, there's a bunch of stuff that the community built, including jingles for some community member names, some sound alerts, the underscores, for example. I can't see an underscore without thinking underscore. Anyway, like it's completely gone. It's done. But yeah, it's a community. It's a massive community.
What I dig about it is Chris Bakuza from Chimaira said it the best. He's like, man, it's like a treehouse vibe, right? So I don't know, we're like the kids in Stand By Me in some weird virtual way, and we're all just hanging out in the treehouse and doing our favorite jokes and talk about our favorite shows and bands and songs and stuff. And every now and then we go and look at dead bodies. We're literally like those kids. But yeah, what I do enjoy that because it's like I also talked about this with Rob Arnold as well, because he asked about Twitch. And he's not as familiar with it as maybe you and I are, or the community, but it reminds me of being on tour, where there were a lot of nights when we get to hang out with fans that became friends, and you're just hanging out. Say you're in Michigan and you've got like 3 or 4 friends that are also fans, and they come out to see you, and you're just having a lot of laughs in the back lounge. Maybe you're watching movies, or I don't know, getting stoned, listening to albums, whatever it may be. It feels like that in a virtual way. So for me, I mean, everyone gets something different out of it, but it reminds me of the downtime of tour and being able to hang out in those good times. Also, and the reason I kind of associate it with that is because I've put in the performance aspect of it. So it's like I'll play, and then it's like I'm hanging out after that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So as an introvert that found their like clan, their tribe, and you could, you know, tinfoil Tuesdays and do a bunch of weird shit, look at dead bodies and perform and hang out. Is looking back at the touring times, how is there, outside of the comparison from like the downtime, is this more your pace? Is this more Mark hanging out, or was the, you know, finding yourself in Dubai Desert Rock Festival the Mark that's more your pace?
No, sir. Was that
that was Lars gifting a sub. Thank you so much, Lars.
Let the bodies hit the floor. I honestly feel like it's more you get more me, authentic me, on Twitch, just because simply like no matter what, it was very hard for me to like kind of settle down on tour. I'm always getting pulled in some direction. Maybe I just want to have a conversation with you and your buddy at the Dubai Fest, but then like in 2 minutes somebody's pulling me because I got to go do 20 minutes of interviews or something, and then after that it's like my only 30-minute window I can have to eat. So I have to get there by that moment to eat, and then like you're getting pulled somewhere else, right? So you can never fully relax and just chill until the night is done. I kind of have that, you know, ability. Yes, I work a day job, but luckily my job is like websites and photography, so I can kind of go at my own pace. So it's just more of the relaxed vibe. I think you're getting a more relaxed me, and I'm definitely still finding myself as a human in Dubai in 2009. Not that I'm still not, but I've grown a lot in character and as a human being since 2000.
One of the things I've learned, one of the things I found out doing the Twitch streams, not only during the podcast, because during the podcast having to talk to a bunch of different people from all walks of life, ask them questions about themselves, it kind of puts this mirror up where I start thinking about the shit that I've done. I'm like, wait, where was I when this was happening, kind of thing. And it really taught me about myself. But just the idea of 100% live with all the fuck ups, and the chat letting me know when I fucked up, and just the community kind of hanging out and supporting each other. Rexter throwing up police lights. Thank you, Rexter. I feel more comfortable with myself than I've ever been, which is something that I never thought I would say live streaming, because then, you know, my environment before was being out, always out, surrounded by people, drinks and partying, and just I thought that was myself, and then I turned on the camera and started live streaming, and it's like, God, how am I more comfortable here? This doesn't make any sense. So is that relatable in your experience?
That's a great. I hadn't thought of it that way, and great perspective to think more about, because I agree with that. And the thing I notice is I do more, like I'm more active. I'm interested in more things. And there are parts of me that, like, especially the gaming aspect, which obviously Twitch is for, I'm back to gaming now, and it's a big part of my life. It was a big part of my life that was not present for a long time. Like I think 2002, 2003, somewhere in there is when I stopped playing. It's a long time, but before that, it was. I mean, I'm Atari 2600. Like, like starting with that, like that's all I did when I was a kid because I lived in the neighborhood where there weren't many homes, weren't many kids my age, and I didn't have anything to do but play video games. So by the time the band really started getting active, though, like Impossibility to Reason era, yeah, I just didn't really have time. I had to kind of prioritize. So it's just interesting, like just that, having more friends, more relationships, thanks to Twitch, and geez, yeah, getting out of my shell. That's a great way to. And I am way more comfortable doing this than I am doing more public interactions. Though you're probably still good with the public interactions. I think if anything, this has made me worse at public interactions because I almost feel like I have to turn on like my Twitch persona, which is it's me slightly up, right? It's still me, but I'm like, I'm excited and I'm hyper and I'm ready to go and be outgoing, and I'm almost like sometimes I'm just not that guy at all. And
Dude, I'm still pretty bad with the social interactions, honestly.
All right. Well, good. At least I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm. If anything, I'm finding this more fun than the taxing, expensive outside world of mingling with people. I'm like, I'll just live stream with my friends or hang out on Discord. That's more fun to me right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you. And like, fast forward now, we don't have a lot of friends that, so that's rough. And if we do, they either live far away or maybe they have kids preoccupied with. We only get to see some of our friends once every couple months even. So there really isn't much to do. So I'm also thankful for Twitch, even if COVID didn't exist, because I mean, our limitations, like, hey, you want to go to the mall? All right. Next day, want to go to Applebee's? Like, it's like, what's there to do? Go to the beach? Yeah, cool. I can't do that every single day. So it's just, I don't know. It gave me a lot more to do. Long story. Too late.
And musically, I heard you talk about like, the fact that you never thought you'd probably be performing a couple of times a week in a lockdown situation.
Never thought I'd be doing that. I'm excited to be able to do that. It's given me an opportunity to play some of the tunes in the catalog that were either overlooked. Hey man, you said the song title. Or perhaps we just couldn't play for whatever reason, time constraints, a lot of like whatever excuses band dudes come up with to not play songs the fans ultimately want to hear. So yeah, I'm able to do that, which is cool. I'm able to practice more. Some of the stuff that it's more of a controlled environment, which I'm sure you're noticing. So we're stuck sometimes live. You're getting a different sound mix every night. You're getting feedback. Monitor guy doesn't know what the hell's going on. The venue has a weird reverb coming back and slapping at you, and you can't hear shit. Whatever the reason, whatever the excuse is, every night it sounds the same, and it's the mix from the album. I remember so it's not ideal for a fan, but as for a performer, like to be able to practice and like give it your all and have the conditions perfect, I couldn't ask for something better.
Yeah. I want to ask about the multi-instrumentalist aspect, because I've always been curious. You started on drums, right? I think I got that right. Do you still play drums?
I wish. I air drum the hell out of everything in the morning. I've been meaning to look in. Actually, I did look into it last year. I just didn't figure. But getting an electronic kit, I started on it, and I really enjoy playing. And the reason that I stopped was when I was younger. Somebody left. It was actually Jim. Jim left his guitar at my house, and I started playing it. And I noticed I could practice that way more. Like drums were an instrument as a kid. I could only have like X amount. I could do like 5 to 7. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like too loud, and the whole neighborhood's mad at me. yada yada yada. So, but with the guitar, I could play that like all night, and it wasn't something that bothered anybody. So I just started gravitating more and more to that, and then I realized then also I could create a song with a guitar, and that wasn't something unless I was a hip hop guy. I really couldn't do with my drum set. Where, wait a minute, I can actually write a song, and I don't need any other instruments, so to speak. So I just kind of like got more interested, and I started guitar with all the bands I was in. Leading up to Chimaira, I was the guitarist for, main like riff guy. And when Chimaira started, I was like, hey man, I'll happily be the singer, because eventually I wound up singing for one of my hardcore bands. People liked my voice. I was like, I have no problem singing for the band, but I still want to be able to write riffs. And that was when Jason Hagar, our first guitarist, approached me about doing Chimaira. And so I was cool to like let the guitar world behind, because I knew by this point I'm like, man, I'm more of like a hardcore guitarist, and I want to be more of a metal band that has like solos and stuff, and I'm not that guy. I can write like breakdown riffs and some catchy chords here and there, but if we want solos and technical riffs, then I'm not the dude. But I'd like to still be able to continue to write riffs, and that's something I was able to bring into Chimaira, throughout, all the way to the very end. And then drums, being a drummer helped, because it helped shape. If I was writing a guitar riff, I already knew the beat in my head, so I could communicate really quickly to the drummers of our band, and I knew how to communicate to them because I'd played it. And if I couldn't communicate it, I'd be like, all right, get off the kit.
Let me show you. Yeah.
Exactly how it went down many times. So
but even vocals was very percussive, I think, in Chimaira. Like it was a percussive approach for the most part.
Absolutely, and I think that's my hip hop background and my love of drumming and beats in general, right? I think like my initial roots are like pop, and a lot of pop music is driven by the beat and the hook. So I think that's the real root of my sound is very percussive, and I think vocally I think of it as that attacking instrument, till like later on where I was like, oh, you can do melody? Oh.
Yeah, I still I was never good at any of the, what's that, jack of all trades, master of none. I was never good at any of them. And someone said, you just try to scream, maybe it'll work out for you better. And that's how but I used to always say I'm a good delegator. So I would tell the guitarist what I want them to play, but not physically be able to play it. I was that guy.
Man, I think you and I share a lot of similar traits in that regard. Like Venom Inside, a good example, right? Like guitar riff. I remember going to Rob, I'm like, he's just looking at me like crazy and like, record it, like with my mouth. And of course, he picks up a guitar and like he can play over to that beat and write a really nasty riff over it, where mine would have just been like one.
I told the story on the podcast before. I was a bassist of a metalcore band when we were in Jordan, and I don't think I've touched anything past the 5th fret and the 1st string. That was it. Like that's the only place I was. And it was all breakdowns. I didn't do anything else in that band. And everything I wrote for since then had been that until I started delegating to better guitarists.
Yeah, man. Delegation is a great term for it. And if you have an idea, and you're able to articulate it, then it's clutch. Like, especially when you guys are all in the room together and somebody's stuck on something or maybe a part, and it's like, bam, shit, I know what can happen here. Let's go into a hook, or let's go into a bridge here or something, and then you can, man, do a riff that sounds like my cousin's band. They're called Pantera. Is that Death?
The dead riff? That one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just from a stock website. It was just generic like metal stinger.
Got it. Almost sounds like Symphony of Destruction.
It sounds every time you hear it, it sounds like a little something else. I think that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. But speaking of that sound, Fawaz from Creative Waste, a Saudi Arabian core band, just resubbed. There's a sentence you don't hear often. Saudi Arabian grindcore.
The Saudi Arabian grindcore band, and what's the band's name?
Creative Waste.
All right, here, check it out. Saudi Arabian. You're listening to Creative Waste, Saudi Arabia's heaviest grindcore band on 106.9 The Tuck. That was great, guys.
There you go. You guys have a little promo for the next album there.
Next one's $35.99 on my Cameo.
I want to ask, speaking of like writing and that environment, we have a couple of questions in the question box, and I want to ask is because I've watched a lot of the interviews, I've been around the community for a little while, and you always talk about how you are like all in or nothing kind of thing. Even I remember I forgot which podcast or interview it was. You said you're basically like even like a method actor back when you were a kid, because once you play something, once you're into it, you're all in 100%. And I wondered, first of all, how that applied to music when you guys were a band, and how that applies now to the community that you're building and everything that you're doing on Twitch.
Well, I think it's just, I guess obsessive maybe is a good word for it. I should preface this, man. When I get interested in something, I have peaks, because it's very easy for me to get disinterested in something. So I should be clear about that. Like I could talk about something mundane, like a video game, Vigor, for example. Like I was so into that, it's all I did. It consumed my time. I had to learn everything about it, every trick, blah 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 blah. They did a couple updates. I haven't even turned the fucking back on. I don't even want to talk about it. So you know what I mean? Like I'll get into something, but I can get equally as disinterested. How it applied to music is relentless attitude towards it. Starting the band, I wouldn't sleep. It's all I could think about. Everyone I talked to, this is what I'm doing. If I wasn't doing that, I wanted to look at my records and listen to my records. If I wasn't doing that, I wanted to watch the bands, the videotapes I had of the bands. If I wasn't doing that, I wanted to get on this new thing called the internet. And, you know, if my mom wasn't on the phone, I could maybe get on the dial-up and get in the AOL chat room and learn more about other bands, try to promote my band. So it's just more of an obsessive compulsive, like I got to do everything I can to learn about music and then promote the music, and then eventually, you know, get signed and all that. That became the obsession, and learning the ins and outs of the record business and everything. So I don't know, I'm not casual about anything, right? Like if I'm interested in it, I get really interested in it. I want to know, I want to be the useless trivia guy.
The a little bit of everything.
Correct. Yeah, I am a jack of all trades, master of none. I don't think I've mastered anything, but I know a little bit about everything. So if we went on tour, instead of partying, I would sit with the sound guy, and I'm like, well, what's this doing? You know, what is this input for? How are you EQing the kick drum? This is the kind of stuff I wanted to know. Like, well, what if the sound guy can't show up and we got to mix ourselves? Or what if this local sound guy sucks? What if the monitor guy sucks? Somebody needs to know how to fucking do this. And that happened all the time. Even all the way up in like Infection, when you're playing, you know, 2,000 seaters with big bands, we'd get some monitor guy. It sounded like ass on stage. And sure as shit, I would go right over and I'm like, you'd see me on the knobs and like, oh my God, who the fuck EQ'd this thing? Like I started screaming at the guy, you know, I'm like, who the fuck EQ'd this? I had it set before, you know, like I'm like yelling at the guy like I'm the monitor guy. So it just, that to answer the question is like I really get into shit and I'm passionate about it if I care about it.
That's one of the things that I noticed, you know, following your journey, but also I saw a similarity between the two of us, because I'm like I had no idea what Twitch was 7 months ago, I think, and now I'm like, I don't remember a time before streaming. You know, like it's just I've zoned in so hard on it. And but also one of the stories that you told is you saw Machine Head for the first time and you were like, you know, that's kind of the thing I want to do. That's where I want to be. That happened with me and Chimaira when you guys came to Dubai. I was like, that's kind of the shit that I want to do. I want to play on stage and do that stuff for a bunch of people. So that's why it's very wholesome and full circle-y for me to have you on the show.
Well, that's really cool. I'm glad I'm able to do it, and I'm glad I'm able to, like, you've obviously done some really cool stuff, man. So, like, to see your journey now, we call it a good journey.
A good journey.
Yeah, so it's humbling and it's cool to see. Like, what is this now? 13 years ago, then?
Yeah.
Was that the right math?
I can't math. I just said so I could look cool.
10 years. 20, 12. All right.
12, yeah.
12, there we go. That's a long time. And walk us through your journey in 12 years then. 12
years is a lot's changed. A lot has happened and changed in 12 years.
Tell us all about it.
A bunch of flop bands here and there. Moved countries around the Middle East. More recently, in the last 5 years, got married and I have a kid. I have a human baby. It was really strange. The cats were enough at first, but now we have a child, and yeah, the Svengali, my band, has done a bunch of cool things that I'm proud of. But also we have a lot of Arabs in the band, so we don't get visas anywhere. But yeah, that's basically it. That was the last 12 years in a nutshell.
What's ever well, congratulations on the child and all of that.
Thank you.
And what is it? Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Kids come in the play and you're like, aw.
Yeah, he's a good one. I never thought like growing up, I never thought, or since the Desert Rock days, I was always like, that's never going to be the thing I do. We're going to be, on the road. I'm going to make this band work and everything. And then once we started settling down, I'm like, maybe a house and a kid and a couple of cats and shit would work too. I don't know. If I go back in time, that's a good question to ask you. If you and touring Mark met up, would you guys get along?
Okay, before I did remember my question, so hold that thought. Whatever happened to Desert Rock?
Desert Rock shut down. So the people that were making it, CSM, Center Stage Management, put a lot on the line for Desert Rock, and they didn't get the feedback, not the feedback, I mean financial gain that they wanted back. And they packed up from Dubai and they moved to LA. They started something in LA. I think they did some MTV shows over there, where they followed a celebrity, or like be a celebrity for a day kind of thing. You'd switch places with a celebrity, but they then turned into video production completely. But once Desert Rock died, dude, 2009 was the last one.
Oh wow!
That was you guys, Arch Enemy. I think Motorhead was on that one as well.
Yeah, Motorhead.
Opeth and
I always forget their name. August Burns Red.
That's the one. Yeah. And it was a local band Nerve Cell opening, and that was the very last one. And then 0 shows happened for years in the Middle East until some dudes started putting on shows again in Dubai. Very small club shows at first, but it grew and grew. Thank you for the party lights, man.
Awesome. So is the scene? Well, obviously COVID screwed everything up then again.
Yeah, but it did. But just before this, there were some pretty nice big shows. Sepultura came a couple of times in the last couple of years. Iron Maiden, Metallica, obviously, 2011 and 14 came twice. Black Sabbath, like these pretty big bands, but also like the Septic Flesh and Christian and the smaller underground club bands. Thank you for turning my lights off, you guys. So that's what Lumia Stream plugin is.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
my old self probably doesn't like my new self at all. Probably thinks I'm corny and would not like me at all.
Yeah, I always think about that because I would probably, like you said, probably think this guy was like, oh man, you're doing what? You're sitting in a room talking to a camera? What the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you out there doing, like, why aren't you trying to travel?
Yeah, you're not in the band anymore and doing it anymore. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, I think about that. It's honestly weird that you said that. Like, there's been a couple times where I've been like, dude, my old younger me thinks I suck. But then I'll think about that too, and I can say the opposite, where I'm like, man, younger me sucked, right? So it's kind of like, about 50-50.
Well, we have a question that ties into the younger you a little bit at least. Why'd you cut the dreads?
Man, that is the ultimate question, and it's a really
sorry to cut you off, but Anonymous just tipped $100.
Uh-oh, good. I'm
Anonymous. Thank you. Holy yeah! That needed a gong. Jesus, thank you. Wow. Let me know who you are so I can Hacker group. Yes, Anonymous, the hacker group sent us $100. Thank you guys. Wow. Thank you very much. That really goes a long way.
Maybach music.
But yeah, sorry to cut you off. Why'd you cut the dreads?
I answered. It was good. Fine. Honestly, here's the real reason, and I know I've said it before. I started to like, because they way down obviously on your head and everything like that, and I started growing a fro red mullet thing, and it just wasn't looking awesome anymore. So
yeah.
And then, of course,
well, it's a very interesting story. When I moved to San Francisco with 2 suitcases, and I didn't know anyone.
What was that sample from?
It was The Room, the world's greatest.
Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, that's perfect. We need to have that. You guys, after this podcast, remind me on Discord. We need a hi Mark command after this. We need a hi Mark.
Yes. Great. I have one now when the followers come in.
I cannot tell you. It's confidential.
Oh, come on. Why not?
No, I can't. Anyway, how is your sex life?
It's so good. It's absolutely so good. We have another question about the good old days from Fawaz, Creative Waste Saudi Arabia grindcore band. What was it like being on Fat Farm the old days?
Fat Farm. I wish it was called Fat Farm. Hey man, I used to be so fucking heavy, man. They put me on this show called Fat Farm. And oh my God, I had to eat 600 donuts and then proved them. No, it was a Farm Club you're thinking of. But yeah, it was amazing. And fucking Fat Farm. I wish.
That's how he wrote it PH fat as well.
Yeah.
Just
Fat Farm was PH. That was a clothing company back in the day. But yeah, Farm Club was awesome. We were flown out to LA, treated like rock stars, literally. And we were an unsigned band at the time, so we weren't used to all that, fancy treatment. Like, Ryder, what the hell's water in your dressing? What the hell's a dressing room? We didn't even know any of that stuff. So it was epic. Got to meet a lot of celebrities. It's awkward being on TV. Of course, when there's paid like dancers in the front row instead of your fans, that's really, really awkward. And but it's still it got us, pushed us that extra edge to helping us get signed. You still hear about it once a week to this day, so obviously it made a lasting impact. 3 million plus people saw it. For us, it's kind of like the high school yearbook photo that you hate looking back on, where you're like, oh man, why did I wear that? Kind of one of those situations, but at the same time, we're big enough boys to handle the ball busting that comes from it.
Hopefully that answers your question for Wes, and yeah, not Fat Farm, just so you know. One more question in the question box from Iman, is there a main songwriter of Chimaira? And if not, is there any competitiveness between you guys back then when it comes to songwriting?
I mean, obviously, you would give that credit to Rob for sure. And if it wasn't Rob, besides Rob, it goes to me. He and I were basically the Lars and James of the band, and we often compared ourselves to them, especially with our relationship during that time frame. I believe we were competitive, but not in a sense that we were, trying to beat one another. Like he's not on the opposite team, but more like competitive, like playing on the same team, maybe Jordan and Pippen, right? Like, I'm going to get 20 points. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get fucking 40. But you're still like bros about it, kind of competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more like that. And I think the dynamic has always been cool because Rob's a very technical player, very well trained, very well practiced. And then I'll just bring in some just nasty, simplistic shit, right? That just complements that well. So kind of that, hey man, you want that 01, 03, 04 riff? Man, I got you. So, like,
I remember I heard Jamie Justice say he does area codes. He just turns into area codes. Give me the 974 and give me the 0213 and stuff. Lingo, thank you for gifting 2 subs there. Robert and Megadeth Bunny got gifted subs. Thank you, brother.
Excellent. That's funny. I never thought of doing that, but I know what Rob does is he's got the blinker as his turn signal blinker is his metronome. So he'll be sitting in the car, turn on his blinker, and tick tick tick, and he'll be like tick 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 tick, and go home and write that riff. Whatever you got to do, man.
Dude, Lingo, thank you. You're on a roll, bro. Massive shout out to Lingo. Thank you for all the subs, and thank you to each and every single one of you guys that hit that follow or subscribed. Or we're not ignoring you. We're just deep in conversation. The podcast is a little more intensive. I don't know what the word is. I can't English right now. But I want to ask, based on all of that, what's because I asked this question to a bunch of different people from different walks of life and in different stages of their life and stuff, and I it's always a very interesting answer. What is the definition of success for you at this point in your life?
I don't know, man. That's a great question. I don't think of that one that I'm even able to answer. I think that I am normal to feel like a lot of us, like a lot of times you feel like you're a complete failure, and then sometimes you feel like, wow, if you look back and I've accomplished quite a bit. So I kind of think I'm a mix of that in weird ways, maybe not being so harsh. But yeah, like I feel like sometimes I could be doing more, and I don't know what success is, right? Like I guess we look up the definition, but I guess happiness with doing what you love to do is perhaps my definition, and I still am able to do that. I've been able to do that for over 20 years, and still today I'm able to do that. So I'm blessed if that is my definition of success. Then I've been successful for 20 years. I don't look at it in terms of like a monetary thing or how many likes I got on Facebook from a sick meme, or like, am I happy?
A lot is the answer to that question, though. A lot.
Well, it does feel good when you post a great. Let me tell you, I'm not. That's a big part of like. I guess that is a part of success, because you know what? I am happy doing that. It is part of my job, so to speak, because I'm a fucking entertainer, right? Like, at the end of the day, a musician or Twitch streamer or what the hell else am I? I'm there to entertain. So if my entertainment in that moment is to send you a meme and you laugh, then I've done my job, right? Or share a meme rather, then I've done my job. So I'm successful in that realm. There's a lot of times where I'll look and be like, oh man, if I would have practiced more of that, or if I did it, coulda, shoulda, woulda sort of thing. And that's the stuff, that's the voice in your head or in my head and everybody's head that's maybe it's drive, right? Maybe that's what's pushing me to do more, to point out the things that that I guess that annoyed me or whatever.
I don't know if it's a drive thing or just the way I was brought up or whatever it was. For some reason, whenever I'm on a path doing something, the only things I can notice and pay attention to are the things that I didn't achieve. So I only focus on like, oh, we didn't get that show. I didn't hit those numbers on Twitch. I couldn't make this one thing happen, instead of the like, let's celebrate the fact that this is actually happening. Let's celebrate the fact that we played all these other things. And over the last year with the pandemic, with Twitch and this like almost therapeutic approach to just having conversations with people, I've been like, you know what, man, every once a day. And shout out to 4 Derpy Paws in the chat, our community manager and moderator who kicks my ass when I don't do it. Just hang out and write a little something in a notebook. Speaking of 4 Derpy Paws, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Fucking badass.
Thank you for the
maybe we just write a line of something you've been grateful for today. Just remember that, like, fucking Mark Hunter is on the podcast. Give that a little write on the note with a pen, on the notepad with a pen, instead of being like, god damn it, the outro didn't click in when I wanted it to, which would have been my go-to thing before this. But it's been very fucking. I don't know what it is about either the drive or just musicians in general. I know a lot of people that I've spoken to. They kind of see the stuff they need to work on a little more versus the stuff they've achieved.
I think that's being an artist. I think that's what's necessary to be an artist. It's definitely necessary to be a comedian. We want to improve. That's the whole thing, right? It's improvement of self and we've entered a vortex. What's going on, man?
Oh, Lengo 213 with 1,000 biddies. What? Thank you, dude. Fucking crazy people out here.
Yeah, that was the vortex, man.
That was the vortex. I don't hear that. I didn't even customize that alert. We're not supposed to hear that often. Clam Crusher 69, thank you for that follow. Welcome to the tribe. Look at you guys go. What a beautiful fucking community. But yeah, man, like, isn't that crazy? Like, the chaos is happening right now. Someone turned off my lights. And at the end of the day, that artist brain, that weird fucking thing goes, but the subtrain wasn't exactly the way we were supposed to go.
Oh man, I nitpick every little thing all the time. Like I can't even look at my stream, but like recaps, right? Like every time I do, I'm like, oh my god, like this is off, or you can't hear this well. Why doesn't anybody tell me that the sound isn't right, or something? You know what I mean? Like I'll sit there and nitpick everything versus exactly what you're saying. Like, holy shit, I've been doing this for like 11 months. Pretty damn fun. It's changed my life in a good, positive way. But you have to look at the bad shit, man. You can't improve it then.
It's a balance. It's a balance. There has to be that balance.
Don't let it consume you, and that's when you start writing, like, you're Trent Reznor and you write the downward spiral though. So maybe you should let it consume you. Damn.
Well, there's Wolflust just whipped out Moshing Mustafa. Thank you for. That's his name, by the way. Yeah.
I need him for my channel, but I think I want the Bob's guy. I think I want a Do Milk guy.
Oh, we have a bobbing guy. Can someone do the bobbing command? ! Bobbing in the chat.
Wait, Bob.
We bobbing, we vibing. There he is. He's just
okay. I want Bob's and Vagine guy, but I like him too.
Yeah, this guy's just bobbing his grooving.
What about Throb? Throb Arnold. Do you have a throbbing guy?
No, but there's a person in the chat called Iman that's been asking for Throb, and we just haven't. We don't give in to Iman's commands. Metal Moses. I want to talk about that name. I love that you have that on Discord, and I love that it's still like a big part of the identity, so to speak. But I remember the first time I heard you say that. I forgot if it was on a DVD or something where you said, because you parted the seas, and you split the crowd in half. And looking back at that right now, is that like positive kind of memories, or do you look back at that and still have that like, God, who was that guy thing? I'm curious because that was like the extreme Mark Hunter, right?
Sure. Well, first off, that's growing up in the hardcore scene, and I remember like Wall of Deaths were also like, you'd be like, maybe you're the dude on the barricade, and all of a sudden the entire back row were linked together and would just like smash into you. Pylons and all that stuff, and then but I never saw any of that kind of stuff happen in metal concerts, right? You saw a lot of like headbanging, and then just the general moshing, circle pits, whatever. So I brought it into one of our shows, and when we had a review of that show from a local magazine, it was Scene Magazine. They were like the weekly free trade show magazine that came out, announced the shows, what's going on in downtown Cleveland, get your thing rubbed with some lotion on the back. I don't know, the 800 numbers. Whatever you needed, it was there. And so the review on it mentioned I split the crowd in half like a heavy metal Moses parting the Red Sea. I was like, whoa, that's pretty damn good.
That's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, that's clever. So the next time I did it, I went with that, right? I was like, all right, I'm going to be like Metal Moses and part the heavy metal sea. And then I just kept going with it. I stopped doing it for two reasons. One, I started getting ripped off way too much. And then like every band was doing it to the point where like you'd start seeing like pop punk bands do it.
Yeah.
And and then two, it started to become a concern for safety. You start playing these big ass festivals and there's like 30,000 people, and you're like, was that a good idea to do that? So like I just didn't want some sort of lawsuit to start happening or something, and you start like thinking like, wait a minute, we got to go on this big tour, and bandits were required to have insurance. Why are we required to have insurance in case somebody gets hurt in a mosh pit? So like you just kind of start thinking about realities like that.
It's crazy to think, especially going back to like, DIY hardcore shows, jumping off the barricades, jumping off the stage. There were no barricades, just like jumping off whatever riser there was, head first into the crowd, and going out on tour and thinking especially the thing with Randy Bly kind of put it in huge in the spotlight, but you can't really do the same shit you used to back in the day.
Yeah, exactly, man. It was just a different time and era, and I shouldn't say rip me off, but you know what I mean, like, 'cause I ripped off the hardcore scene, but it just became too trendy of a thing. I just saw it everywhere, where you just used to never see it anywhere.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, maybe that's a good question. There's a big difference between people like directly ripping it off or inspiration, and Chimaira has been one of those bands that inspired a lot of people, especially like, I think I'm 10 years younger than you, but that generation is like, you guys are the new wave of American heavy metal, or that like new wave of metal that was post that survived the new metal thing. But anyway, what was it like being in a band where you saw direct ripples of what you guys were doing, showing up around the world?
So when I say the rip-off stuff, that's kind of like a getting back to like, we'd be on Ozfest, right? And we would do our whole spiel, like get the crowd riled up, crowd go fucking crazy. But you're on a rotation, right? So maybe we play at 3:00 this one day, but then the next you don't play until like 8 a.m. and some other band is before. what would happen is I would do all this shit and like come out and do everything, and then like the next day, one band would get to jump on us before and play before us and literally steal my fucking stage banter and move. Be like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is happening right now? So then like I'd have to come up with a whole new spiel by the time we'd get on, right? So I think there's some leftover animosity from that.
I have to admit, once I was on stage and I completely forgot where we were, but I said I did that head bang motherfucker on time, and someone pulled me as soon as we walked off stage. Someone pulled me aside, just like, have you been watching Rob Flynn videos? What have you been watching any Machine Head DVDs? What was that? That was exactly like what he does.
Yep.
God damn it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, there's nothing's original, right? Or we're all coming out of somewhere, but it's like one thing to do it like at your own show, right? Like if I'm gonna like steal some shit from Phil Anselmo, I'm not doing it right before I play in front of Pantera.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, motherfuckers is badass. He fucking power drops. Oh, goddamn. Like I'm not gonna do that. Just like
wrap the mic around your neck. Just do
right.
that.
Yeah. Like you should do the fucking wall of death before we go on. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
No, I can't do it.
But musically, you guys also saw a bunch of ripples out after Chimaira started picking up traction, where people had the same kind of sound. There's similar kind of structures. I remember, I mean, a lot of local bands outside of the actual covering Chimaira sounded just like that. What was that like? Was it fuck yeah, look at these guys doing it, or god damn it, stop fucking copying us, dude?
No. I didn't notice it, honestly, and then I was made aware of it. So I started seeing the ripple around the time of Whitechapel, year Suicide Silence, that era, Born of Osiris. We start there. This new generation, in like 08, 09, when we're headlining basically, and these are a lot of the bands that are up and coming being suggested for us. So when we go out on the road with the bands, they're like, dude, I grew up on Passed Out, and like, wait, what? You know, like we had no idea that it was news to us that we'd inspired a whole new genre of music. Essentially, we helped.
Or like Julian said, he found out he lost his virginity to one of
Right.
the.
Man, I never knew anyone went balls deep to us before either. Expect to hear, you don't think about it. I don't anyway. Like, hey man, I wonder who's listening to this album and like they're gonna pick up a guitar, and I never crossed my thought in my whole life. So when I met, I think it was the original guitarist of Ymir, who I went and saw them play, and he just said that the album Pass Out changed his life. Like he owed me royalties because everything on the first Ymir record was stolen from us. What? Like,
Dude, if I get into that, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. But even if I get into that, that's a massive part of my upbringing, down to the point where I think it was the music video for Destroy and Dominate, where you guys put up the stem files for people to edit. I became an editor after that because I was so determined to fucking learn how to edit and maybe win that competition that I got good at editing, and I was an editor for like 10 years after that.
Well, that's fucking awesome, man. It's really cool to be able to chat then. You know, I don't get this kind of perspective, right? You don't see it. I think as a creative, like you create your thing and you move on to the next thing, and sometimes when people express like they like something, it's almost like the happy birthday song, you know, where you're like, thanks. Because it's just, I don't know, do you feel that way when you create? Like it's uncomfortable with people like, but at the same time, it's awesome. It's weird.
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't ever get to see the perspective of how it's influenced and inspired people to actually pick up a trade. Like that's new to me. So at least that I never thought someone like Mira and the band that I was in, like someone would learn to edit. That's the last thing I would ever That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a weird balance. Like for me, making stuff is one thing. Creating something is one thing. But then as soon as someone likes it, I make it for people to enjoy. Like even this podcast, I make it for people to enjoy. As soon as someone subs or someone sends $100 tip, or I'm just like, oh shit. God, how am I supposed to react to this? When someone actually does enjoy the music, I'm like, fuck, they got a tattoo of our band? How is that even fucking possible?
That's what I mean by that. Like, it's like awkward. You don't know how to express how you feel when they actually do reciprocate and like it. I've never been able to wrap my head around.
Yeah. But like you said, I feel there's just like entertainer gene that always happens, and that aspect of it makes you see like the things we talked about. You know, you see more of the faults to make them better than celebrate the nuances. You don't necessarily know the impact that it has because you're focused on the creation part. There's a couple of these things that are just threads. It doesn't matter what instrument you play as long as you're actually making music, kind of thing. That always seems to be a common thread in these conversations.
You should be a psychologist, man. You're picking it. You're like my therapist. Never thought of it that way. Seriously, that's great perspective.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I've this is episode 9 of season 2, so I've done 109 of these episodes, and it's dude, 109 in a year. First it was on Facebook, and then we moved to Twitch, but it gives you some perspective talking to people. Like I said, whether they're in chat or on the podcast, it's fucked with my head. It's given me a whole new perspective on a lot of different things. You know, like Peter Tagrin from Hypocrisy. When I said, like, you know, what's the one thing you would change if you had, which I'm going to ask you, at some point, and one thing you would tell your younger self, what was it? And he said, get a fucking music lawyer. You know what I mean? And just that hit me in a different way, because I was like, what? Wait, that's the one thing it would be? And we had a discussion about why that is, and you know, seeing someone's perspective, I completely assumed it would be something completely different, and he hit me with that one. So 100%, knowledge is power. Absolutely. # knowledge is power. Amen. Thank you.
The more you know.
But yeah, always creating. I wanted to talk to you about Down Again, if you don't mind. Let me see if I got this right. Check this out. Let me see. Boom. Oh shit! Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Looks like
Boom.
Han Solo. That's
And
Solo?
we can have it in the background while you let us know a little bit about this.
So yeah, interesting event that I was able to be a part of. We were in Cleveland. There's a well-renowned artist, Derek Hess. He's drawn many concert posters that we've seen and all over the place. Couple great album covers. I think it was In Flames. What's the one with Cloud Connected? Is that Come Clarity?
I think so.
Anyway, he did one of their album covers. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, there was a documentary made about him and his struggles with art and bipolar and alcohol addiction. And the filmmaker and I met at a mental health panel that was hosted by Derek. And it was just basically a bunch of artists like he and I that have dealt with depression and or bipolar or other types of mental issues. And we were just given an opportunity to field questions from a live audience. And the panel was me, Dr. Nick Cavalier, the filmmaker. And after that, Nick approached me about kind of doing a similar story that he did with Derek, but instead of art and painting and drawing, it was more focused on the music. And Nick also had a personal connection that our music helped save him. So there's a bit of an esoteric reasoning behind this picture and why it's me, right? Because when he approached me, I'm like, man, I don't know that I'm very interesting for a subject of a film in any way, shape, or form, but a big part of it is that I'm open and I'm willing to discuss some of these things. I thought, but then you come to realize, oh shit, I think he's making this movie because our music helped him, because the filmmaker Nick, also is bipolar and went through quite a bit. So I think there's a lot behind it that I don't really even perceive or notice myself. But my point or my part of it was to just explain to the camera and the interviewer how I deal with my day-to-day situations, hypomania, which is a form of bipolar. And we don't even really get into like the details. It's more or less like thoughts that any of us have, right? The dark times, and this is how I deal with them, and how I used to deal with them, and how I deal with them now. And I hopefully continue to deal with them. So we looked at the whole piece as a conversation starter, and it kind of did just that. And it actually had the pleasure of performing in several film festivals, and I got to go to the Cleveland Film Festival, which is world-renowned. It's not just, hey man, Cleveland does. My cousin's in a band. It wasn't one of those. It was like it's a legit film festival. It's not Cannes, but it's not not Bob's Film Fest.
Or Mashiga Mustafa's Film Festival. That's the one we.
Right. There you go. It was a big deal. I got to watch that movie in a theater, packed full, sold out crowd of not a single Chimaira fan.
Yeah.
Not a person who knew who the band was. So that was so fucking weird. Like, I can't even describe it, man. Like, head trip. Like, this is weird. But what was excellent about it was afterward meeting these people that saw the film, like, there were very impactful things said. One that stood out to me the most was this lady came up to me and she's like, I think I finally understand my son. Thank you for making me. And she had to be like in her 50s.
Wow.
How old is her son? You know what I mean? So how long have they had a strained relationship? So like, that's again one of those like, how do I react to that moment? But it sticks with you, right? Like, that what you did wasn't a waste of time. What you did was the right thing to do. So doubtful moments where you're like, man, I wish he would have put in that scene where I called that guy a fucking asshole. It was so funny. Like, I'm not focusing on what didn't happen. Focusing on the moments, obviously, that.
But how crazy is it? I always love talking about that. How crazy is it that just a couple of years ago, maybe it was just a metal scene kind of thing, like talking about mental health was taboo.
Oh shit!
Battery exhausted. Hold on, chat. We're almost there.
I can get you. I got to back up.
All right, cool. I'll chat to chat for a little bit. Hey, Julian Gorilla's here. We were just talking about you showing you making the love to Chimaira. I don't know why I said it like that. but also Julian's the guy you rated, and he immediately showed you that in the game he's playing you could show your pee-pee.
Pecker.
Yeah, that's
a little different because it's a shitty regular computer cam, but whatever.
Oh, that's okay. We got it. There we go. Look at that. On the fly. Pro streamer.
I'm a little washed out. It's like the Destroy Dominate video. In the sun, brother. I'm in the sun. So that video, by the way, it was inspired by the movie Sunshine, a Danny Boyle film. So all crazy flares of sunlight and everything. If you ever watch that movie, you'll kind of notice the homage.
Yeah. I've dropped the link. It's only on YouTube right now, right?
For Destroy and Dominate?
Oh no, I was talking about Down Again. Destroy and Dominate. Yeah, we have. I have that. I still
yeah,
have my cut of that. One
On
day I'll
this.
upload it.
Jaundice. Oh my god, I'm pissing yellow. Dark yellow. Can't fucking, my liver, it's fucking, I can't stop drinking vodka, man. Woo! Powder. Sorry. The worst looking fucking, I look like,
Because his pink, he looks jaundice.
yeah, I look like
that's-
1970s camera, like I pulled out the old Kodak.
Wait, I'll match you. Whoa, Derpy, could you turn it yellow? I don't know what this is.
Yeah, yellow. Turn me more
Yeah.
yellow. You're green.
I legit don't have control of the lights in the live stream. They do. So if Derpy can turn the lights yellow, there we go. Look at that.
Oh, look at you, man. Yeah, now you have jaundice. Fucking jaundice. Hey, what's up, jaundice from Duluth? Next song is called Yellow Eyes of Destruction.
Brilliant. Wait, I'm trying to set this up because I want to show everybody. I want to show everybody this guy. Oh, thank you, Derpy. There you go. There's a clap. I want to talk a little bit about this guy as well. We got Gavin Kunt.
Yeah, Kunt.
Gavin
Yes.
Kunt.
Gavin Kunt.
He looks a little familiar, but you guys, what's going on there?
Yes, right. All right. Yeah, this amazing artist from Australia. He is a world-renowned singer-songwriter. Great hit singles, Sheilas and Blokes, tearing up the charts in Australia. And just a very overall great musician. And he actually wrote all of the songs that start my stream. And it's pretty sick. Like
I've heard a bunch of them, but could you give us some of the titles? I haven't found all of them online yet.
Yeah, they're not all online. I guess he's releasing the album late this year. It was supposed to come out last year, but he went on this huge tour with Skunk 459,
Damn.
Duluth's biggest band. So he had to put the studio album on hold, but it's coming out this Christmas. And but some of the song titles, "Country Little Christmas." There's a Sheilas and Blokes. We've got Undercover Fire Truck. Swinecock. He has that death grind, tech death, brie. You know what the kids like, or that heavy stuff. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Country Little Christmas. That's the one. Yeah. Country.
Yeah, have yourself a cunty little Christmas. Have yourself a tuck. That's good stuff, you know.
But see, this is what I love about what you do. And guys, I have every time the name pops up, every time the lower third pops up, the Twitch channel link is also in there. And if you don't already follow, fucking do. Because shit like that's basically the stream. You listen to music, you hang out, you there's an insane amount of inside jokes kind of running through the stream, but also you made a bunch of songs. You even have one, Megadeth Bunny. I just saw Megadeth Bunny in the chat.
Yes.
Just for Megadeth Bunny.
That's the rave jam, man. We all take ecstasy and thylacine right before the stream starts, and we just like that, brother, and then the stream's ready to go.
I saw you yesterday ask Dan what's his pH level. I've heard that a few times.
Yes. Wait a minute, I have a question. How did you get the pants on the screen?
How did I get the pants on the screen? What pants?
Pants. Lauren put pants emote. Like, how are you getting emotes to come up on the screen? Not emotes, but like just regular emoji.
Oh, anything you type in the chat that's not text pops up on the screen.
What? How?
There it is. Yeah.
How the fuck you doing that?
Stream elements.
Oh, dude, my mind is blown. Oh, that's a PC thing. God dang it.
No, I'm Mac. You guys
what?
see?
Wait,
Look
what?
at it. Mark Hunter is Mac as well. They always give me shit for being Mac.
Dude, once you go Mac, you never go back.
Yeah. I'm 100% Mac, all the way.
Yeah. Wait,
But yeah, I can show you how to do that. It's a Stream Elements thing, a browser source, very easy stuff.
My mind is blown. I'm gonna be able to have some pants up there. Fucking Gavin's gonna play Levi. Where's Levi's? This shit's gonna go crazy.
Dude. now you've opened up the floodgates in the chat. By the way, look at this.
Oh, don't talk about floods. My basement's flooded this weekend twice, man. You just said some shit that triggered me, brother.
Where does that character? Who is that guy?
Who is that
guy? Thank you for the party lights. Whoever did that, Lars. Thank you for the party lights. Who's the OG guy that you're channeling when you do that?
That's literally every fucking Chimaira fan I've ever met in every part of the world put together. Seriously. Hey man, I'm in Germany. Hey man, y'all are fucking heavy tonight, brother. Like, wait a minute. That's not how Germans talk. But he's there. He's fucking there. Somehow in Germany, that guy shows up. He was there. He was there in Dubai. Man, y'all were fucking heavy, man. Wait a minute.
That was probably me. That was
Man, I'm fucking Iraq. Wait, what?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I'm actually from Iraq, and that's probably me just being like, "Hey, man," because I remember I walked off stage. You walked off stage. I went to the front, moshed, and came back, and you looked at me and you went, "What the fuck happened to you?"
Oh no! Hey, what the fuck?
What the fuck? And I was like, "Yo, man, you guys kicked my ass."
So yeah, it's channeling like the drunk fans, and a lot of times, man, and like especially in the South, like they're all like, man, y'all were so fucking heavy tonight, brother. Man, I fucked up 6 apartments to y'all.
I saw that in the chat earlier. Yeah, someone said that exact line in the chat.
That is an exact quote said to me.
I fucked up since 6 apartments to y'all was the actual quote.
Where hand of God, like that fucking me and Shanzi, it was Chimaira 2.0, so it's the new lineup. Our very first show on a tour. We pull up into St. Louis. Sean and I walk out the door of our, with probably the bus, yeah. Walk out of the bus. There's some fans outside, and I'm like, oh, Mark, man, fuck, I fucked up 6 apartments to y'all. We're just like. That happened, man. True story. We were fucking dying.
Y'all riff is another one. There's
y'all riff so hard, brother. Y'all swear to God, man. When you come to like America, a lot of dudes talk like that. Like south of Cleveland, they start talking like this. And Columbus, man, y'all fuck. God damn. Is it 2 hours? You wouldn't even have to go 10 minutes south and people start talking like this. So I guess it's everywhere. Yeah,
well, I married an American, so we often go back to her parents in Virginia for Christmas. We're going back this Christmas, you guys, if you're in Virginia or anywhere around.
You know this guy, man. You're like,
yeah. I've met that guy. That guy that I told him I was in a metal band. He's like, Lamb of God. You guys know that Lamb of God?
Man, my cousin's in the band. Sounds like Lamb of God. Randy, brother. Yeah, like you met him. You met this guy then.
Yeah, I met her, and I the same guy asked me if women have any rights in the Middle East. It's perfect because he's the same guy that doesn't know. Oh, thank you for that lamp of good. Oh, there's that lamp of good. Every time we mention lamp of God, we have to activate the lamp of good. I don't know if I've ever told you the story on your chat, but back in Jordan, we weren't allowed to play metal in general. So anytime there was a cover show or anything like that, we would have to write down all the names of the songs and the bands that were playing and submit them to authorities, and they would green light the songs that were allowed to play. And then you know like Cannibal Corpse, that's the haram one. You're not allowed to play that. But a Metallica, that's okay. So a couple of bands wanted to play Lamb of God. And thought this will never get greenlit. It has God in it, and they'll just deny everything. So they wrote Lamp of Good and just shifted all the song titles slightly so it sounds a little easier. And they played Lamb of God for 3 hours straight, basically.
Wow, that's epic. I know, when we played the Desert Rock Festival, we were told we weren't allowed to have any songs with profanity. And so we purposefully chose a set list that was free of, for the most part, of profanity or something. I didn't really have to say a word, if it didn't matter. But then the fans were screaming "Power Trip." Like,
I remember that.
Here, and I'm like, how are we getting around this one? So then I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have to say it.
Yeah.
Enough. Like, crowd wants to sing it, and that was another one of those unforgettable moments where you're like, dude, this is profound for this culture and this moment, and to be a part of that is fucking pretty damn surreal. Just over the word fuck, right? And the ability to express that, and that just wanting to feel that and say that and get it off your chest, and so it was awesome to be a part of that.
Dude, I remember having conversations with bands that played Desert Rock where they were like, wait, what? We're going to take a break for the call to prayer? Like, what does that even fucking mean? Like, stop halfway through the set. And we're like, I was the guy that had to explain it. I was like, yeah, you guys just pause for 5 minutes, walk off stage, take a drink, and then come back on. Like, we don't, what? And we're not allowed to cuss. And I remember, the things they told Rob Flynn specifically was don't take your shirt off, don't drink on stage, and no cussing. So the first thing he did when he came back for 2008 was a black tooth grin or Jaeger and Coke or whatever it was, sip it right on the stage, take his shirt off and go, fuck this, guys, I'm never going to come back. Or something along those lines. And he played the set. Nothing happened. But that act of defiance was a generation of people were like, that's the guy. That's what I'm gonna fucking do.
Wow, that's epic. That's so cool. I would love to have been like that dude in the audience seeing, right? Like, oh,
yeah. And
cool.
they played oh fuck, the name escapes me now. What was that? The Dimebag song on the Blackening. God, why can't I remember it? Aesthetics of Hate. Before the lyrics were finished, before the Blackening was out, and they played it for the first time in Dubai, and that 2008 show was a big one for Machine Head as well. The Desert Rock experience, that festival, changed a lot of the generation of metalheads in the Middle East. The fact that it doesn't exist anymore, I can see the change already. A lot of people are gravitating towards different genres of music and stuff just because they haven't seen any bands.
I think did we get frozen? Oh no, that's me. Sorry. Dude, that's unfortunate. Yeah, and I hope that it, like you said, that things are starting to change and keep going in the direction that they're able to do that.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we're slowly changing. We're slowly getting the hang of things. There's a bunch of questions in the question box that I'm gonna get through now, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Let's go for one, an easy one from Iman Ahmed Music. She asks you, can we become BFFs?
Sure. Just send me. It's on this website. It's sugarmama.com. My profile is Chimaira_Mark, and then I think it's like $2,000 a month, something around there.
There you go, Iman. Hopefully that answers your question. $39.95 on Cameo. There you go. You can do that a couple of times a month, and you got a best friend.
But hey, I'm on social media. I'm on Twitch, and I'm very interactive with my community. So feel free to stop by my OnlyFans.
I have an OnlyFan.
Yeah,
took the
right.
S off, and it's occupied by one person. His name is Belfagor. He's in the chat, and he only gets picture of my thighs. That's it.
Maybe I should start one and just put like really shitty photos of myself. Like I can find the most unflattering pictures. I think I have this idea brewing here. Maybe I'll wear the George Washington wig in the first photo.
There you go. That's a special occasion.
moist comes up. Do you have a trigger for moist?
Oh yeah, we because I mentioned Belfagor. He doesn't like the word moist. I turned it off for the podcast, but I'll let you hear it. We have a command especially for him because he hates the word moist.
Belfagor, are you moist?
Oh, that's fucking disgusting, dude. Oh, the way she says that. Oh, that's horrible. Horrible.
So yeah, VIPs can torture him with that. I think the cooldown is like an hour. They can write Belfucker instead of Belfagor in the chat, and that plays for him because he hates it. He's also a patron. I don't know why we torture him.
That's brutal, brother. Brutal.
So we know now that you hate the word. I'm not gonna say it. You hate that word.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's a pretty bad word. I'm gonna get another question from the question box. Since music and photography seem to be two very different outlets for creativity, do they complement each other for you, or is one counterweight to the other? That's a great question.
So I love visuals, and I love, of course, when you can combine the two. I think that's why I'm such a big cinema freak. Since I was a young age, it's kind of the full experience, right? You're getting the picture and the music together. Photography for me more or less became more of a way to eat, and I kind of got away from the creative side of it in terms of like doing it for fun and enjoyment, which is unfortunate. But like one of them pays the bills, and you have only have so much creative energy, right? So, like Randy from Lamp of Good went the whole route of like really becoming like an amazing photographer that's more in the art realm and galleries and put shit on your walls. I went more in the realm of like, oh, you own a store here and sell products. I can take photos of that and put it in a commercial setting, and it completely different ball game. It requires a creative process, but it's not something that like I'm doing with music, right? It's not something I'm able to combine. So I guess I look forward to, if I make music, then I would be able to really pay even more attention than I already have to the visual side of it, because I'm even more trained now, especially with coloring and editing as well. Yeah, it's they complement each other so well, right? Like I can watch a Stanley Kubrick movie in like 2001 and just have a completely transformative experience. And nothing being said. There's no dialogue. It's just a picture and sound. The way it hits. Love it.
It's crazy how many parallels we have, because after the getting into editing and Destroy and Dominate was kind of the trigger to like be like that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I got into the film industry in general, but my idea was I'm gonna be a freelance editor and filmmaker because that'll open up the doors for music. And then film started paying, and then that became the thing that I did because it paid, and the music started to subside a little bit. And it was this weird balance of like, which creative outlet is actually creative versus which creative outlet is now my job. Even though I loved both of the creative outlets, it wasn't like I hated one more than the other. But at one point I started to really enjoy filmmaking, not only because it was just a good creative outlet, but because there was a fucking reward. there was someone paying for it. Whereas music, we were grinding as hard as we can, and everyone's like, all right, you guys can have this opening slot somewhere and probably pay a bunch for it. Either way, like it wasn't that investment reward kind of feeling, and film became a passion as well.
I totally understand that. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's this, if you're, in 2021, Twitch is more or less my creative outlet, and my photography is more of what's paying the bills. I mean, again, you have to be creative, but it's not nearly like it doesn't drain me creatively. You follow, or sitting on Twitch for an hour or two, you're pretty wiped after that mentally.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of being on Twitch for an hour or two and wiped mentally, it would just
go by now. Jeez, crap. Joe, nobody's even here anymore. They all left. They want to go home by now. Like, no, I'm just kidding.
Everyone wants to. You guys throw up the fire. Let them know we got their backs.
Maybach music.
Wow, that's good dog. We're watching Howard the Duck tonight on our stream in 1 hour. So I mean, if you're looking to see some duck titties tonight, you know where to come. I'm not.
You know where to go.
I'm not censoring them. If I get banned tonight, dude, imagine the headline: Chimaira singer banned from Twitch for showing duck breast.
Dude, every almost, I don't know if you picked up on this, but since I started following you on Twitch, at first, especially before I started doing Twitch a little more hardcore, I would still be editing. I would still be in the office with the computer up, and you stream about 4 p.m. our time. I'd have you on the side and then editing something on the side, and every single time, the most ridiculous thing you would say would be perfectly timed with someone walking into that room. And it's always like someone knocks on the door and goes, "Hey, are you exporting?" And then it's just you going, "Those cocks are the biggest cocks I've ever seen," or you just some random shit. And I'm always like, "God, fuck your shit, mute."
I love it. That's great. It's what's weird though is when they're like, "Hey man, listen to you right now." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And they're like, "Yeah, my 6-year-old daughter's in the car." I'm like,
don't do that.
Hey, like I'm sitting there, talking about whatever day of the week could be. Hey man, like zoom in on that guy's butthole, and like, and it out of context, it's just so amazing, right?
Out of context, I remember even my wife, my wife walking in at one point, and I forgot what it was. I think you rated someone that was just basically milking a cow for.
Oh yeah, the goat. Yeah, Mary's Massive Milkers.
Yeah, and I didn't know what was going on. I was watching your stream. You rated, and that's when my wife walked in and just saw me watching someone milk a cow. And I was like, no, don't worry. It's Mark Hunter. He's from Chimaira. There's this thing called a raid, and
oh, that's epic.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. It's hard to explain. But dude, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I love to end on this question and wind down on this like thoughtful. I don't know if you noticed, I like to get spacey, even though we can't officially smoke here. Wait, I'll even add to it. If you had a time machine and you were able to go back in time and talk to young Mark, pre-dreadlocks, pre-Chimaira, flying to Dubai to play a show, pre-Twitch and everything that's gone on, just Mark just interested in drums, wanting to achieve things like Machine Head did, get on Roadrunner and play shows around the world. You had a time machine. You were to go back and talk to young Mark. What would you tell young Mark?
Well, my first question is, which time machine rules are we playing by? Is this Terminator? Is this Back to the Future? Is this something like Dark, where there's a multiverse?
No, this is more Back to the Future. This is more
Back to the Future. Okay, so I can and so grandfather paradox is in play. I can change reality and then create an alternate timeline.
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah. I think based on what you say, young Mark. I've never had this reaction to this question, by the way. This is someone. Okay, could you guys note the time so I could clip this? Basically, what you tell young Mark would
lawyer.
hire a music lawyer. What you tell young Mark could possibly change his path depending on your experience.
Song in the background. Whew.
Yeah, after 2 hours of it gets kind of stuck in your head.
I don't know, man. Like I said earlier, like I think that I was like an angrier dude. But I said this, I said with Rob on his show, like practicing more and like just utilizing your time more, But I felt like I wasted a lot of time, especially on the road. But then, my perspective of that was, you guess you don't have the energy to do anything but waste time, because like I said, you get pulled everywhere. So I got to change that answer, right? I don't know what that answer is now, I guess. So maybe we'll have to make one up here on the spot and just be like, hey, man, don't change a goddamn thing because life is pretty cool. I'm here right now on Twitch talking to someone in Dubai on my own radio television program called 106.9 The Tuck. The Tuck.
You're also on the moon right now, so that's what.
On the moon. Like practice.
It's doing that weird suppression thing again. I didn't hear what you said, but while the X-Files plays.
Oh, weird. Maybe it's too. All I was gonna say is like just practice. I really don't have an answer because like, I don't know, I'm not one of those like change things. Things happen. Want to change? Practice.
One of the flip back, one of the coolest answers I heard, and they flipped the question back to me is, would young Mark even listen to an older guy going, listen, I have experience, and I think you know what you should do, and young you wouldn't probably have even listened to it. Just middle finger in the air, and I'm gonna do it anyway.
So honestly, actually flip that, because I do listen to a lot of people, and maybe that's the problem is I listen, like I took everyone's advice way too much without like filtering it, right? There's one thing you can like I do listen a lot, and I did rely on a lot of people's expertise and not always getting the best advice. Of course we got tons of great advice, otherwise you and I wouldn't be talking right now, but in the beginning you get a lot of shitty advice too. And if you're someone that's maybe naive to the scene, or you're vulnerable and you just want to succeed and everything, like you'll just listen to anyone and everybody. Not always the best advice. So, but yeah, I definitely do listen, and I would have listened because I like to absorb information. So if somebody was actually, man, you got to think too. Back then, like when growing up, we didn't have much of a database to find out information. So there's no internet, there's no fucking every band has a documentary on how they changed their fucking strings. We knew nothing. Like we saw clips from Pantera's home videos, we saw a little bit of live VHS stuff that we got. We saw what maybe the band's life was a little bit like in a magazine or in a music video, but for that we had no information whatsoever. So we have zero map skill, basically. We have no map to go and no skills. So anyone that was willing to like show us the ropes, or that maybe was a little more advanced that we could like learn from, definitely would have taken the advice. Now, if I would have watched myself on Twitch dressed like Ronald McDonald, would I have taken my advice? No. I mean, like, that guy's a fucking clown, literally.
Dude, I have a floss redeem where I have to do the floss to whatever song they want, and 99% of the time everyone picks Rebecca Black's Friday. So my kid's gonna grow up and eventually find clips of his dad flossing to Rebecca Black's Friday, and I always thought, you can't talk your way out of that one. I'm just gonna be like, listen, man, it was the internet.
Yeah, it's a different time, man. Cats played the piano, and then there's floss.
Nurse Flossom. All right, we got 3 last questions in the question box. Thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you guys for sticking around. It's been fucking awesome. Everybody that gifted subs and followed and through the fire, all that shit. You guys have no idea how much that means to us. And I'm basically doing this full time. So each and every single one of those subs allows us to do this and allows us to continue to have conversations with amazing people from around the world, like Mr. Mark Hunter here. So thank you. Mark, would you ever be a frontman in another band?
No, not right now. If you ask me today, no. I don't know. Like, I don't have a desire to go out and do anything new. That makes sense. Like,
that Fear Factory debacle. Did
yeah,
that
like, my hands are full with the new Fear Factory gig.
Yeah, that should. There we go. Megadeth Bunny got it in the chat as well.
Yeah. I've said this before. Like, I just put all my eggs in one basket. I enjoyed what I do with Chimaira, and if I have the opportunity to still sing those songs, cool. And if I can do it from the damn bedroom, even cooler. So I don't know. When and if I get the bug, I can't see myself being one of those guys that's like, all right, here I am at 50. Let's jump in a van and start over. Like, nah, man. So, I think that window's passed. But being able to put out music and create and perform it, that's not out of the question. But like starting some brand new band over and going through the ropes again, like, that's a hard pass, G.
Doubleicious saying, you mean the basement I lock you in, not the bedroom.
This is true.
One last question. Have Charmin performed in Russia?
In Russia. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to make an in Russia joke, but I couldn't even get one in time. Someone will come up with one in the chat, and it'll be much better anyway. No, we never got the opportunity to. Definitely was a place that we would have liked to have played, and I would have liked to have visited it. It looks beautiful from photos. A lot of bands got the opportunity to go. It was just never worked out for us.
All right. Well, you guys made it to Dubai, and as someone that was heavily influenced by you and the band, I just want to say thank you for everything. Even when it comes to Twitch, I stole a bunch of shit. Like, I sit down and scream, and we did the A to Z, and I basically do this full time now. The very first Twitch I went in was yours, so it's pretty fucking crazy. And the fact that we got to have this conversation means the absolute world to me, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. So 15% of your income, then, if you just directly.
I already ordered it as an advance on Cameo. It's all there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, 15% then, right? To Venmo. I'm just kidding. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're doing it full time. I don't know what that means, like, for your energy and your like mindset. Like, how many hours a day are you doing it? Like,
we're doing it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and the podcast is 2 hours. Everything else we just wing it, and it never goes over 4 hours unless there's alcohol involved, which is also not a good idea. But the community is made of a bunch of maniacs, actual maniacs. Like, you saw the gifted subs and the stuff. And I don't have to take on freelancing jobs where I have to cancel a stream. That's kind of what I meant by, like, full time is I could opt into this versus something else.
See, I'd like to get there, but I guess I don't put it. I never thought of it as a money-making thing until, like, I started, hey, you can make some bucks on here. So I haven't made the jump for, like, a full-time thing. So congratulations to you on that. There's definitely moments where I'm like, I do not want to go do this fucking website,
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I get it done, and then I'm like, oh, cool. Now I can go buy something for Twitch and have a good time with it. But hope that answered everyone's questions, and Hope to see people over in the Howard the Duck stream, man. That's going to be badass with some duck breasts. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to come over to your community. I know you've been a long time, obviously, supporter of the show. I didn't know it was that deep. So very cool to learn more about that. Thank you for that. Like I said, 15% to Venmo.
It's coming right after the outro to officially end the episode. I always ask the guests to say the words "hit the outro" in any way you see fit. But guys, no one leave. We're gonna be raiding Bogus Forehead. We raid some smaller, a little more out of the community people from time to time, and this guy's playing guitar. He has a very nice setup, and we usually all jump in there and then all yell the same thing. So two things, Mark. Would you give us something to yell at Bogus Forehead once we get there?
Wait, okay. Yell.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. Cowboy. Yeah, do that. Like rock.
Let's go. Not Chara. Yeah, we're gonna do cowboy this time.
Cowboy. Yeah, no cocksucker in Arabic.
Yeah. It's gonna be cowboy, you guys. It's gonna be cowboy. 4 Derpy Paws just posted it in the chat. And again, thank you so much for your time. You guys, cowboy. Each and every single one of you guys. Make sure you follow Chimaira _ Mark on Twitch, and he'll be live in an hour. So we're gonna pop on over there in just a bit. Yell cowboy at Bogus Forehead, and Mark, whenever you're ready, just let us know to hit the outro.
Hey man, I'll tell you what. You need to hit that outro, partner. Let's do that right now, man. Woo! Yeah. Woo!